Howdy folks, the Shure KSM8. This is a new microphone. There's a lot of information on the Shure website. It seems they spent a long time creating it, so it's interesting to test it. I decided to get it, I suppose partly because it's Shure, and they've been around since the day, of course, and SM58. So I did. I've been using it for some time. I've had it about 6 months. I've used it myself. I've used it at the BRIT School with various students, and recently I used it again for the past 2 weeks on my own gigs, and again at the BRIT School. That's the way I'm doing things now. I've decided that any microphone I review, the other microphones I've reviewed before, I've had quite some time. I've used them a lot. Some of these now, I'm making myself use them on gigs, and I'm taking them to the BRIT School, giving them a chance, getting to know them. Sometimes not happily for myself, because I like to use the mics I like to use, so I do gigs with mics that don't suit my voice or don't suit me, for the sake of doing the review, really, so I can be as thorough as possible. So that's how I came to get it. I can't remember how it came, but in a box, possibly. I think it probably did. What I'm left with, I can't find, had a look, can't find them amongst all the other stuff. But the case it comes with, anyway, is this. And I do believe it came with the regular Shure hard plastic mic clip, which we're all probably familiar with. And here's the mic itself. We'll have a closer look a little later on. Case is good. What the manufacturers say, and they say quite a lot. Here's an idea of what they say. Check out their website for more of it. There's a few pointers that I've got here. It's a dynamic microphone, not condenser. Frequency response, they say, from 40 Hz to 16 kHz. Kind of average for a dynamic, though there are some that go further. Sensitivity, I don't have much idea about that. It seems, in terms of these figures, but for me it's pretty similar to most dynamics, perhaps a little bit more output than an SM58. Not in some of the condenser mic regions. Characteristics of the SM58, it's extremely wide sweet spot. It says, additionally, a neutral mid-high frequency response. It says it's a cardioid dynamic vocal mic. It says it's the first high-end dual diaphragm dynamic microphone. I imagine it's not the first high-end dynamic, but it might be the first high-end dual diaphragm dynamic. It says this is about combating proximity effect. This is really what this microphone, I would say, is probably mostly about. Patent pending diaphragm stabilization system. So ultra-thin diaphragms, accurate frequency response due to controlled proximity effect. They mention proximity effect a lot. This is one of the main aspects of this microphone. Resulting in the most natural sounding dynamic microphone available. Goes on to say exceptional control of proximity effect vastly increases working distance without on-axis coloration. Goes on to say things. Anything else? Neodymium magnet. They spent a lot of time, from what I read on the website, trying to figure that out, the engineering of that. Dent resistant, So that's what they say. You can look on their website for more detail if you should need it. Let's have a look at the frequency response that's available on the website and comes with the microphone. This should appear on the screen down the bottom if I can figure that out. What I noticed from looking at it is that it's quite a roll-off at the low end. I know I keep going on about low end, but I use it. It's quite a roll-off from about 150 Hz. You might see that to that side. I hope I'm the right way around for you. Very flat across the middle with maybe a slight reduction. And then we've got a little bit of a peak at 2.5 kHz, another peak at 4.5 kHz, and a lesser peak at 8 kilohertz, and then it rolls off pretty sharply after 10 kilohertz. So with these diagrams, you've got to be a little bit careful. What do they mean? To me, that those roll-offs look quite severe. I don't know if they're weighted for human hearing. All this decibel stuff, you've got to figure out best to use your ears, I think. But to me, it's all very well saying what the frequency response is, but within what range of decibels is the question. And I can see that it's down 5 decibels at about, I don't know, 80 hertz. So for me, it's a little bit of maybe an issue. The top end up there, maybe my ears don't do it, maybe most sound systems don't. You have to kind of listen, really, but it gives you a bit of an idea of what you might expect, but you have to use your ears and your voice. Let's have a look at the fit, finish and feel. Well, I have to say, we'll have close-ups just now. Yeah, it's a handsome mic. Feels nice. It's kind of grippy, not soft grippy, like some I felt kind of rubbery, which I don't like so much, but it's metal, or feels metal. I don't know what they've coated it in. But it's quite grippy. The shape is, you can move it around quite easily without feeling that you're going to drop it. You can tell where things are. This emblem, which you'll see close up, is, I read on the website from way back, I think. They reinstated it. Maybe a little bit fussy around there. I don't know. It's fine. All these things are very subjective. Is what do you like and what does someone else like? But I'm happy with it. Let's have a close look. Happy New Year. Here she is then. Quite a fine grill, which is removable. Nice threads, everything good quality. And look at that, one of the prettiest housings I've seen in a long time. They talk about the mesh they have around here. There's foam in the top there, quite a thick layer of foam I can feel. And some thinner foam round here, and then I think it's kind of a gauze which you can see through. Very pretty. Feels very good quality, very nicely done. Compared to an SM58, a little bit larger. Feel about the same to me. Not scientific, as you can tell. The Earthworks SR40V. About the same size. Perhaps a little lighter. But in terms of build, feel, finish, no complaints at all. Okay, time to plug her in and see what my first impressions are. Plugged in. Immediately, of course, the room noise is gone from this. First thing I notice is it's very smooth at the top. Very smooth up. It's nicely revealed. Round about that area as well. Seems a little bit forward. Maybe that's one of those peaks. What happens? Notice, yeah, it's nice. A little bit of low end lack. Let me bring it in here. We do get some proximity effect. It's quite interesting actually. Let me bring it closer still. Closer still. Now you get some proximity effect coming in, so the bass is boosted. Something to remember about human hearing is it's not the low frequencies. It doesn't respond to human hearing doesn't respond so well to low frequencies, so you need some help there often. That can be problematic practically speaking in rooms, and amplification needs to be expensive and all the rest of it. It gets quite, there's some difficulties there. It's very nicely done. I notice what they say. Yes, the sweet spot is very large. It's a little disconcerting. I've been using it for a while. A little disconcerting for me because I use proximity effect and I like it, and I'm kind of thinking, where is it? It's almost like modern cars, not mine, which is 15-year-old van or something. Modern cars, I understand, park themselves. I don't know how that works. I've been told they park themselves. But for me, part of the joy is parking, the skill, and keeping that thing alive, looking and seeing the space. And so I've gotten some spaces you wouldn't believe in my van, I can tell you. So part of the joy, I bet you the automatic parking couldn't do it either. Part of the joy is that. So I'm missing that a little bit. It's like auto something going on. I'm thinking where I'm hunting for it. That could be you just getting used to it, or me just getting used to it. The ultimate authority isn't there in the lower end. I can hear. For me, it's not there. So for me, again, a microphone that props. Oh, I'd use it. I've been using it for a while. I like the rest of what it offers. For people who haven't got much technique or can't be bothered with it, or they're busy with other things, and it's about performing and not the rest of it. I think it does what they say, and the top end is nice. What did a student say? She said, nice and nicely detailed at the top without being dry. That was very, quite an insight. Young. Not that young people don't have insights, but for someone not experienced, I'd agree with that. It is up there. I think I can sense it doesn't go as high as it might. Have you got the PA system to reveal that? So, but it's sweet. It's smooth up the top there, smooth. So, those are my first impressions. Just switching it on now. Pops, S's, breath, and proximity. Pops, 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 pops. People quite well controlled as any. I think I can tell it's got foam in there. There's something I can hear about it that's got that foam thing going on, as the vast majority have foam. Some of them have that mesh, as you'll look at other reviews. S's, not particularly a problem there, as they say. Those two or three peaks they have don't really exacerbate that. So unless you're particularly sibilant, fine on the S's. What do I say? Breath. What do I use for breath? Who do you think you're fooling? 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 Of course, if you hold it to the side, as you know from the microphone technique video, you're going to reduce that. Who do you think you're fooling? Who do you think you're fooling? Not bad. Does a good job. Proximity, polarity, and handling. Well, the proximity we've done, the whole purpose of this mic is to reduce the proximity effect, which doesn't suit me. But I can handle it. I wouldn't choose it, but I can handle it if it's given to me. Polarity, let's have a go at this then. So here we are on axis, it's cardioid, remember? Here we are to the side, here we are to the side, here we are to the, well, not quite the side, now we're at the side. Wow. The band is there, I notice, on most of those mics it's going to have some effect, but no. Yes. Coming round to the rear, coming round to the rear, coming round to the rear. So some leakage, not a lot. Coming round to the side, good rejection. Comes on song pretty easily round quite an angle. So again, as they say, moving it away a bit, moving it closer, moving it away a bit, trying to speak louder without disturbing the neighbours, then bringing it closer. Feels to me very smooth, as they say. It maintains its sound over that. Whether you like that or not, it's another matter. I don't require that really. I quite like the change. That's part of the artistry for me of the paintbrush. I don't want the paintbrush to be all the same colour. I like to have those changes of colour, but you have to learn how to use the particular microphone for that, of course. So again, for people who are not into that, for people who are not into that, what they say works. I'm going to try a few notes and then swap between my standards that I've got here, the SR40V condenser mic, which is for me the business, the SM58, which you'll be mostly used to. This is an American one, an older one, made in the USA. And I'll just do a few notes and just see. If we're gonna be here in that kind of place, oh, if we're gonna be here in this kind of place, hey, 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 hey. SM58 immediately. If I'm out in that kind of, it just brings out all the phlegm and all the rest of it, and the scarred vocal cords and all that. Just brings it out. No, hey, hey, hey. Bit of it edgy and spiky, actually. Is it a bit louder? I think maybe it is. I haven't balanced them up. I thought I had, but you know these things. And Earthworks. Hey, hey, going up in that place there. Nearer to, are we overloading? No, I think we're just about all right. Sorry about that. Nearer to, yeah. Let's just try these two then. The SM58 we kind of know. Ragged and rough and middly and just them bits and a bit of spike at the top and not a lot else. If you like that kind of thing, that's fine. People have liked it for decades. Let's try these two then. The Earthworks and the KSM8. This is the KSM8. This is the Earthworks, which is a bit louder. Let me adjust. This is a KSM8, very smooth and sweet. This is the This is the Earthworks. There's more detail in the Earthworks, as you'd expect. It's a condenser. Turn the KSM8 up just a tad more. This is a KSM8. This is the Earthworks. Difficult to say. We'll try some lower stuff. KSM8, Shure KSM8, KSM8, Shure KS. I really have to get in close to get the what proximity there is, which they've tried to get rid of mechanically, not electronically. This is the KSM8. This is the It's all about the balance with the low and the high. Not all about it, but that's an important aspect. This is the KSM8. This is the KSM8. I could use it. This is the SM58. This is the SM50. That's really edgy, isn't it? This is the SM58. This is the Earthworks. Authority. Absolute authority. This is the Earthworks. Woo! And the rest of it's there as well. Very, very well balanced, the Earthworks, but we're not reviewing this. Let's go back on the KSM8. This is the KSM8. This is the KSM8. This. I can see what they've done. It's a nice microphone. No two ways about that. Back on the road. 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 Just why not? On the KSM8, of course you can't hear the room on the KSM8 as much. This one picks up the room. This one is right here. KSM8, KSM8, KSM8. Back on the road, back on the road, back on the road. More. Again, more of the proximity which you'd expect, because the whole idea of this is to reduce that. Back on the KSM8 then. Speed, clarity and extension. Speed, clarity and extension. Speed, clarity and extension. Clarity is there. Speed is a very difficult one. Feels reasonably fast to me. They say they use very light diaphragms in this, which respond quickly. So no complaints with the speed that I noticed. That's a tricky one. Extension. Maybe I sense it doesn't go as high as it might. It certainly doesn't go as low. Even before the proximity thing, you can see it rolls off. But for most people, for girls, female voices, it'd be fine. and even for low male voices, it keeps a little bit of weight in there. You have to get used to how to use it. You have to bring it there if you want it. It does stop it getting overly muddy. But the Earthworks doesn't get overly muddy because it's so clean. But for a dynamic, it stops it getting overly muddy. The Bayer M88, you have to be a little bit careful, maybe around 200 to 250 hertz there. This hasn't got that because it's reducing that. So I think it's nice. It is natural. It is natural. It's a good microphone. One thing I forgot to do was handling noise, so let's do that now. I'm going to leave the Rode on as well. No, I'm not. So this is a KSM8, well damped, quite low. Going to compare it with the Earthworks. We already know the Earthworks is superb, and you can hear that, very well managed. A ring there if you tap it, but you're unlikely to be tapping it. It's more likely to be this kind of stuff, isn't it? SM58 coming up. Noisier than the Earthworks. Higher frequency. Bit of a ring there, but you're unlikely to tap it. Back to the KSM8. Now, something I've noticed, I'm going to put the room mic on. This is on as well. Something I've noticed when using the KSM8 on stages, on different mic stands as well, is there seems to be a certain resonance, which I assume comes from the mic stand, but I'm not so sure. I think the KSM8 maybe amplifies that a bit. Let me show you. So I've got the KSM8 on a Triad Orbit mic stand, which is the most solid and most expensive you're liable to come across. And with a Bayer dynamic clip, which is my favorite, which is slightly lossy, so it damps down. It's kind of rubbery, yeah? So here we are. It's more that. Ding, 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 ding. Tapping at the bass there. This could be sounds coming up from the floor on a stage that's resonant. One of the stages is resonant I use. Compared to the Earthworks. So much less. Sorry about the chewing noises, it's my cat. Much less. Let's put the KSM8 back on again. Oops, sorry, I should have muted. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's in the mic. There's a frequency there, isn't it? Getting rid of the Rode. Sorry. There does seem to be around about that frequency something going on. Just a little. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm not an engineer. But it's something I've noticed using it practically, so you might want to check that out and be careful with, I don't know, just bear that in mind. Perhaps choose your mic stand, choose your clip carefully. Maybe it's this particular sample, don't know. Maybe you're poor, maybe you have wealth, maybe in demand or maybe on the shelf. Whatever your situation, there's one thing you should do. Reject all automation, let me work on you. I'm Mr. Manual. Automatic's not my style. I like to manually manipulate you. It's guaranteed to make you smile. Hey, call me Mr. Manual, automatic's not my style. They call me Mr. Manual, automatic's not my style. Yeah, I like to manually manipulate you, guaranteed to make you I like to manipulate you, guaranteed to make me smile. I like to manipulate you, guaranteed to make you smile. Yes. El operador liso.